So, here's what we have. First ones they're going to give you. So it's going to be kind of a little mixed review of a couple different things. Number one, it's going to tell you how much money you make per week, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, that type of thing. Okay, so let's say that it says you're making $1,750 semi-monthly. Semi-monthly. Okay? What we need to do is figure out how much money you make per month. So there's two different ways to do that. I'll show you two different ways on this problem. And then we can calculate the rent. Because the first type of problem that you're going to have is asking for what is the maximum rent you should pay. Like the theoretical maximum rent. Okay? Again, this is theoretical. It's that guiding rule that they say that you should have exactly about a fourth of your money go to rent, no more than that. So, if it's telling you semi-monthly, and use that chart that you had back, and I'll put the chart back up here today. Semi-monthly means you're getting twice a month. So it means you're getting 24 paychecks over the whole year. So there's two ways to do this. Number one, because this is pretty straightforward, because I only really need to know what you make per month. So if you're getting semi-monthly, you just basically take this thing times 2. That'll give you what your total month's pay is. Because you're getting semi-monthly means twice a month. So 1,750 times 2 is 3,500, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, 3,500. That's what you're making per month. Now, that's one way you can do it. If that didn't make any sense to you why I took it times 2, you can use that chart that I'll put up here in a second. And what you can do is you can take that 1,750 times 24. That tells you what you make per year. This is a year's salary, because that's what the chart says. Like you multiply it by 24 to get a year's growth. And then once you have that number, you can divide by 12 by how many months there are in a year. Say this again.
42,000.
Say it again. 22,000?
42.
42,000 even?
Yeah.
Okay. So 42,000 bucks a year, and you can divide by 12, and that will give you this number. Okay. I don't know which one you want to do, but because it just depends. Because they're not always going to say that you're getting paid semi-monthly. It could be you're getting paid weekly, or you're getting paid bi-monthly. That's every 2 months. So you have to use that chart to figure out what you make per year and then divide. That's the reason why I'm giving you two different. Semi-monthly is one of the easiest. You know, if you get paid once a month, then you can figure out that. Now, we're not done yet. Okay, the whole goal was to find this magical number. What you make per month. I don't care how you do it. I think probably the most common way is going to be this route. This is the way that most people are going to do it. They're going to figure out what you make per year and divide by 12. And again, that 24 is different depending on what word they say after your month. And then what they want to know is your maximum rent. So what we have to do is use that rule. That rule is whatever you make per month, you divide by 12, or you divide by 4. And that tells you what you should pay in maximum rent. This is that rule, the unwritten rule for rent. So you divide your monthly pay by 4, and that's what you should pay maximum for rent. Anyone have a calculator and wants to divide that by 4?
875.
875 bucks a month. You shouldn't go more than that, otherwise you're stretching yourself too thin, and you can't afford car, food, other utilities, and all that good stuff. Because they figure it should be about a fourth of your budget. Now remember, I think you have 4 of these right off the bat. You think you can handle that?
Oh yeah.
I will have the chart on the board because you need to figure out what your year pay is, and this number will change. Because I don't know what word they're going to say. They could say bi-monthly, semi-weekly. So they're gonna have a couple different things you're gonna have to do to figure out your year's pay. But I showed you two different ways. I don't know if you're gonna have that semi-monthly, so taking it times 2 might not be practical for you. I just thought that was a quicker way to do it if you just think about it. It's twice a month. Okay. Now, let's move on to the second part. The second type of homework problem that you're gonna have. They're gonna tell you what your annual pay is. So let's say you're making $83,950 a year. So So this is now the second type of problem that you're gonna have. They're gonna tell you this right off the bat, so maybe this is question number 5 in the textbook. And what they're gonna ask you to do is to calculate the mortgage that you're pre-approved for. Pre-approved mortgage. So, if you need to calculate your pre-approved mortgage, that's where whatever you make per year, you take it times the banker's rule, which is 2.5. So, 83,950, and we take that times 2.5, and this is called the banker's rule. This is what you're pre-approved for on buying a house. The mortgage is a house payment. It's a loan for a house. It's not rent. So when you multiply by 2.5, let's see, what do we get? Okay, 3,950 times 2.5. What is this? 209,875. Okay, questions on that? Okay, I started with the easy ones. I think you have 4 of those. I think you have 5 of those. They're pretty straightforward. They will not try to trick you on what you're gonna get per year. They just tell you right off the bat, this is what you're making per year. Question?
What's that last number again?
That's the mortgage that you're pre-approved for the house. Okay, we're good?
Yes.
All right. Last problem. This one is by far the difficult problem of your homework. This is one that's going to take you the most time today. Because they're going to have you calculate a down payment, make the down payment, then calculate what your monthly mortgage payments are going to be, and that's serious math. That's the stuff I was showing you on Friday. That's not easy. Okay? Does everyone have these examples written down?
Yes.
Okay, I'm moving on to that last problem today. We stopped that. It's annoying with that outburst and noise. All right, so this is the last style problem. If we need to do 2 of these, we'll do 2. Okay. Let's say that you're making, let's just go an even 50 grand a year. I'm not going to be too specific. This is what you're making per year. Okay. They're going to give you this number. Next, they're going to tell you your down payment. Your down payment has to be 15%. This number will change depending on your bank. My bank, Clear Bank Trust, wanted 20%. So I did 20. Your bank could be 15, it could ask for 10. Maybe you're a new homeowner, so maybe they're cutting you a deal that year where you can do 10% down payment. But trust me, like we did the math on Friday, it's better to do a big down payment than wait. Okay? Let me stop here. Okay, so we got a big down payment. Now, for all homes today, we're going to use a simple interest rate. We're going to do a 4.5 interest rate. We're using 4.5% interest today, and we're going to go for 30-year loan. 30-year term. 30-year term is how long you're going to take out that loan. This is some serious math that you have to do on this problem. This one problem is going to take you longer than all the rest of them combined. You have to calculate the down payment, make the down payment, then calculate what you're going to pay per month. So you have some serious stuff. So hopefully you have a calculator in your hand so you can see where I'm coming up with these numbers. All right, first, we have to calculate what my down payment is. So we have to take your 50 grand, 50,000, and we're going to take it times 15%. 15% is 0.15. Say it again. $7,500. That's the first step you have to do. Where I'm getting that 0.15, that's 15%. If it was 10%, it'd be 0.10. Because it's 10%, you always move the decimal over 2 spots. If it was a 5% down payment, fine, 0.05, you always move the decimal over 2 spots. So what that is, that down payment, that's the number that has to come off the top of your agreed pay price for that home. So this, again, this is the house you're buying. Okay, that type of thing. Okay, maybe that's a 50 grand home you're trying to buy. You've already been pre-scored. So here's the idea. For 50 grand, we take 7,500 off. So we have to take 50 grand and we're gonna subtract that 7,500 off the top. So you have to write that number down. That should be, you know, the 42 something, 4250. $42,500. Okay, so that's what you're gonna have to pay for your house, right there. All right, so now that you know what your house is gonna cost you for your loan, now we can take that number, the 42,500, and now we can go into that crazy formula that I gave you on Friday. That really big one that uses interest rate, uses the term, and we can calculate everything from there. So does everyone understand how I got to this number right here though? I calculated my down payment and I subtracted it off. So that's the loan you have to take out. Okay, so here we go. So the amount you're borrowing is the principal times 1 plus r divided by n to the nt. Okay, now what this stands for is that the principal is the amount you're borrowing. So that's the 42,500. That's the amount you're borrowing. That's the principal that you're going to borrow from the bank. The rate for us is 0.045. That's the one you're using for all of your homework problems today. But, okay, we're going 12 times a year, bless you, 12 times a year compound. Banks do that. It's every 12 months they charge you a little fee for not paying off the house yet. Same with credit cards. Credit cards do that too. They use the 12 times a year, and we're doing it for 30-year loan. Now, what this whole formula is going to give me, what it's going to calculate is going to calculate what you're going to pay over 30 years entirely for that home. This is going to be the entire cost of that home after 30 years. Now, what I need to make sure of that you're doing correctly, you have to figure out this number inside the parenthesis first, and then you have to figure out what the power is so you can put it on there. Can somebody tell me what 0.045 divided by 12 is?
0.0037083333.
Like that? Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's taking a 0.045 divided by 12, and so you get some crazy number on the screen. You have to add that to the number 1. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put it to a power. What's 12 times 30?
360.
360. So we're going to have to put that to the 360th power. That just makes the number a little bit bigger. You know, the example I used last week when I put mine to a power.
Is the compound always going to be 12?
Yeah, compound is always 12, especially on credit cards, student loans, home mortgages, it's always 12. I don't think I've ever seen a loan that they didn't compound it monthly. I think there's some business loans that you can do for, like, if you're going to start a business, where they do a compound where they do it quarterly. They charge you like once every 3 months, so 4 times a year. Like Apple has to announce their profits quarterly. They don't really have to, but they do it for the stock market because they pay off loans and stuff. They actually borrow money from manufacturers and stuff, so they actually pay every month or every 3 months. But yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
For most mortgages, it's always 12. So we put that to the 360. Now, what is this number to the 360? 16. Okay. So 3.79. Okay, it's about, we're almost going 4 times as much money. And so we're going to take your number times that. Now, here's the good news. On every problem, that should be the number you're using. It should be the same number. You have the same interest on every problem. You have the same term on every problem. So you know what you're going to have to multiply by. Now, when you multiply, what do we get? you get the very end when I multiply this?
161,075. $0.75. Other way.
Oh, other way. And, okay, so our loan over 30 years is gonna be a $161,000 loan. And so now, what we have to do is, we've calculated how much it's gonna cost you for your house in 30 years. This is what you're gonna pay the bank in total for your $40,000 home, $50,000 home technically. Because that was what you're making per year, and that's the house you're buying. Now, what we have to do now is we have to calculate what your monthly payment's gonna be. Like, this is serious, like, they're doing everything in one problem, one shot. So to figure out what you're gonna make what you're gonna pay per month, you have to take your $161,075. This is my last step. Yep, 161.75. You have to divide by 30 and then divide by 12. The reason why, you have to divide by how many years you go, you divide by 30 years, so each year you're paying this amount of money. And you have to divide by 12 to figure out how many, what you're paying per month. So when you divide this by 30 and then divide by 12, I'm making a $447.43 payment per month. There's the magic number I need to see. That's your payment per month. As you can tell, like looking at that last problem that we did for rent on a house versus purchasing, sometimes it's easier to purchase a home than it is to rent a home. And the best part about purchasing a home is that you can get that money back if you sell it later. If you kept up with the house and you kept it fixed up. Question?
I have a question. How did he get the 1,075?
Took this number times that.
I did, and I got this.
35. Maybe just went less decimals. So you might be more accurate than he was. Maybe he just rounded off decimals. Maybe he didn't use all the decimals like you did.
I said 0.79.
7.9. She has, I think, 3.5. Hers is a little slightly different.
Jeez, man.
So if you're in the ballpark, I'm good with you. Because it could be just how many decimal places you're using. All right, does everyone understand how you get to that number? Now, the only difference is, it depends on, interest rate, obviously, but I'm gonna have you guys all use the same interest rate, all use the same term. The only thing that's gonna change in your problem is the price of the home you're buying and the down payment you have to make. But we're just gonna assume that you're buying the house at the price that you make per year. We're not gonna try to do the banker's rule and multiply by 2.5. Because he could, or she, whoever this person is, could have went higher if they're making 50 grand a year. They could have actually bought a home at 50 grand a year. They could have bought the home using the banker's rule. They could have bought a home that's $125,000. But they chose to buy a 50 grand home, which is safer. Still costs a lot of money though. All right, questions? That's fine. Nope.
That's mine.
Not mine. So
Cheese.
it's,
Cheese. Who's calling you?
okay, just, there you go. All right, hey, we ready to go? Okay, here's your homework. You have the rest of the time today to work. It's going to be due on Wednesday. That last type of problem is going to take you forever. Take your time on those last ones. Don't rush it. In fact, I'm going to leave that on the board just so you can see how I did it. Okay, use my numbers that I gave you today for that one. Okay. All right. Page. Here's the first page. Page 82. This is all the rental problems. 1 through 4. Exercise A. Page 84. Now here's the one where you have to calculate the banker's rule for how big of a home you could buy. That's 7 through 12. Exercise A. And then the last one where you have to calculate your monthly payment for a house, where you have to, figure out all of your monthly payments, your down payment, this is the one that's going to take forever. I did problems 3 through 5 and number 7, so I didn't pick very many of them. That's page 87. I didn't pick a lot of those because they take a while to calculate, but those are the ones you're going to have to take your time on. You have to calculate the down payment, subtract it off, use that huge formula, and you have to use the same numbers that I'm using, because you have to use the 0.045 for 30 years. The only thing that's gonna change is how much money you're paying for that home. We're just gonna assume you're gonna buy the home at the cost of what you make per year. We're not gonna do the banker's rule. Just to be safe. Okay, you have about 15 minutes to kind of work today. This is due on Wednesday. Don't wait till tomorrow, because I know cross country is away tomorrow, volleyball's away. There's lots of stuff going on today and tomorrow.
So wait, joining 6.045.
Or yeah, after one.
Oh my god.
You're probably gonna get ready off. Where's it at? I dropped out of that race last year.
This guy
Why'd you drop out? Because it had shingles so bad I couldn't even breathe about a mile in. I was running like second to last place, so I just dropped out.
Just told him you're leaving or what?
Okay, yeah, so he was slightly off. Yeah. Hey, just be careful. These numbers that somebody was giving me earlier, these numbers are off. This decimal's off, that's not 0.045 divided by 12. And that is not, this number isn't right. So when you put it to the 360, it's not 3.79, it's like 3.84. I think that was what you were saying. So this number wasn't right. It was slightly off by just a hair. So be careful on that. Double check what that is in your calculator before you go. Yes.
I have cheese.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yep. Yep. No. You have to figure out what you make per year. Divide by 12, so you can figure out what you're making per month. Divide by 4. That's what your rent will be. That's what you're doing. You have to use that chart. I think on this page 4. The chart for you guys. For the rent, or what you're making per year, or whatever it is, that chart was back on page.
I missed the one point on the, I missed the point on the homework down.
Yeah, that bi-weekly monthly chart, that was on page 17.
Whatever you make a year.
Divided by 12.
First year
And then-
math in like 10 years.
Yeah, hey, that chart you need for like bi-weekly, weekly, and monthly, that's on page 17 if you need to know like what you need to multiply by.
Wait a minute, I'm proposing. Number one. So they just say 1,000.
So, you know what you make per month? Divide by 4. Yeah.
So pretty much asking them, please.
Yes, it is.
Or can I go fetch my computer?
You passed.
You can get it after today.
It has to be every, it has to be per month.
I could see them saying.
Or number 2, it says every 2 weeks. So like monthly in. Does it matter? We get like paid like just twice.
What?
Number 2 says you're getting 566 every 2 weeks.
So,
That'd be like 2 times a.
so figure out what you make per year. So you got every 2 weeks, so that's 26 times a year.
Okay.
Figure, yeah, and then divide by 12, divide by 4.
I'm not even thinking of the last one.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Question?
Okay, so, Caitlin, how'd you do that?
Which one?
This times
You're gonna have to figure out, you're getting paid every 2 weeks, so how many weeks are there in a year?
so say you have to go back to that page.
Yeah, if you go back to page 17, so you're getting paid every 2 weeks, so that is bi-weekly, so that's 26. And then, so that's your yearly pay,
That's exactly what it's going to.
divide by 12, and then divide by 4.
5 by 12.
Yep, that'll be what you should spend, because divided by 12 is what you make per month.
And don't leave there.
So what is it?
Year.
Oh, you're a felon, no.
I'm not going.
I could. I could. If I wanted to.
Sorry,
But
guys.
I live
Oh, wait,
next
right.
year, like, yeah.
We have everything.
Thanks.
We're trying hard.
I'll be back here in a second. No. Questions?
Or you just do that divided by
Yeah.
Yep, and then what I always want.
Yeah, pull over. Clear like in the turn,
What?
75.
Yeah.
It was so cold, it was like 20 below. So I was like,
I'll call him.
Sorry. Alright, have a nice day. And I got pulled over for flashing my